Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake.
Chris.
And Ames.
Well, Chris, you're right on it this week, not like last week. I'm glad you've learned your lessons. Well, it's because we've been beating you to make sure that you don't fuck it up again.
I'm in so much pain.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of pain, I don't know. Anyway, we're here today.
There's an O'Brien episode coming.
Oh, poor O'Brien. We're here today to do episode 215.
What?
Oh boy.
I know, and we're going to talk about, not to throw you all off with a little change here, but we're going to do 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. We're going to talk about Honor Among Thieves and Change of Heart. Change of Heart had me pretty fucking anxious, I will tell you. But first, Honor Among Thieves. I don't know. As usual, Chief O'Brien is like the most important person in the whole fucking universe. And they needed somebody to go and investigate the Orion Syndicate, see like how they managed to buy somebody from Starfleet or whatever. And they're like, all right, well, we have all these actual operatives, but I think instead... We send O'Brien?
Yeah,
we send
He's
O'Brien.
He's not doing anything and has no
it's
family.
Explained. It makes sense.
It does not.
Sort of.
No.
Little sense. We'll talk about this, because wow.
It doesn't... The thing is, it doesn't need to make sense, because this is a great episode. This episode is great. So O'Brien is hanging out in a bar, and he zaps a guy, and he's like, oh no, you're being zapped. Let me stop the zapping. And he does, and immediately this, like, I don't even know what this guy is. Just like a gun arms dealer type person. He works for another guy.
He's a mafia guy.
Yeah, he's like mafia.
Like an underboss.
His name's Bilby. He works for a guy named Ramus. He's got a couple of henchlings called, let's see, Kroll and Flith.
Flith is a great name. I loved that name.
It looked too much like Filth.
It does. It's great. It's perfect for this guy.
So Creole and Filth are his 2 dudes, and O'Brien is now also going to be one of his dudes, because O'Brien can, like, fix the... I don't even know what the hell it was. It was like a space ATM that they were using to, like, rob everybody. They were like, let's steal money from the cops. No, let's steal it from sick children at, like, whatever St. Jude's is in space.
He's a general fix-it guy.
Yeah. He's Mr. Fix-It, just like always. I'm picturing him getting really angry a la Gyro Gearloose, you know, in the DuckTales cartoon, and being like, I'm not just a gadget man! But anyway, that is all you are, O'Brien.
Yes, you are.
And unkillable. So in it, you know, he's like I say, he's working for Starfleet to try to find out who their double agent is, or their mole or whatever. And he just keeps getting in deeper with these dudes. He fixes himself a couple of Klingon disruptors, and they're like best friends. Bilby's like, these are me daughters. You can have your pick. I love...
Gross.
No, he doesn't. Also, I bought you a whore. Why won't you have sex with the whore? You're gonna hurt her feelings. Oh, O'Brien. He doesn't actually have an accent. I don't know why I'm doing that. Like, I wish he did, though. At any rate, they become good buddies. O'Brien likes him in spite of the fact that he just, like, murders people in cold blood.
It's to pat his cat.
Yeah, Chester?
Chester. I love Chester.
Chester Cheeto. Chester Cheetah, whatever the fuck his name is. Anyway, I'm just saying the cat likes flaming hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
And so... And who doesn't? Yeah. Hey. So anyway, they become really good buds, and O'Brien finds out that actually the Orion Syndicate is working with the fucking Dominion. And they wanted... Yeah, I know. And they wanted those Klingon disruptors because they're trying to find a way to get the Klingons to, like, back away from Starfleet. But Gowron, that son of a bitch, God, I love him, is making things difficult. He really is like, no, Starfleet's great with those crazy fucking eyes of his. Their big plan is, okay, like, we're gonna assassinate the head of a house, and we're gonna make it look like another Klingon did it, so we're gonna say that, you know, Gowron is, like, ordering hits, and then people won't want to hang out with Gowron anymore.
So another Klingon civil war is what we're saying.
Sounds great. I mean, honestly, can you imagine anything that would make Klingons happier than a civil war? I feel like they fucking love that shit. They get to die with honor. They get to kill other Klingons, which obviously...
Klingon deaths.
That's got to be the greatest challenge in the universe, since they're obviously the best warriors. So, I mean, you know, when else do they really get to stretch their legs and see how talented they are, but when they're killing each other? So yeah, Klingon Civil War, and then, you know, they'll take their ball and go home, and then the Dominion will only have to deal with Starfleet, and, you know, They're a bunch of
they're pretty
bitches, so that
powerful,
sounds
so.
much better. Then, Bilby is the one who's chosen to go do this job and set it up and do the assassination. And it turns out they're going to kill him. They're setting him up. They're going to do him dirty. And O'Brien finds out and is like, we
Maybe
gotta...
the Federation?
Yeah, the Federation's going to do him dirty.
Got it.
Yeah, thank you. And O'Brien's like, Bilby, you're my best friend, and I gotta tell you that I work for Starfleet, and they're totes gonna kill you. They're setting you up. Let me help you. And he's like, no, but my 3 handsome daughters and my wife and
Chester, not Chester.
Yep, not poor Chester. Will soon be orphaned. But O'Brien's like, let me help you, and he's like, LOL, I'm already dead, you idiot. Thanks a lot. Why'd you have to be a mole, a double agent? And they have this really... Yes, I have a mole. And honestly, they have like this really tearful, sad moment where O'Brien's like, let me save you. And Bilby's like, you fucking can't. I wish I just didn't know. There's nothing you can do. And then the fucking episode ends. The episode ends. We have no idea. I assume Bilby's dead.
Oh, yeah.
No, they said he's dead.
I guess he is dead because O'Brien goes home with his cat. Bilby's like, just take care of Chester. I don't know why I keep making him Irish. I just like it better. I like it better that way. But anyway, O'Brien gets a cat. That's probably for the best because, man, his wife keeps going on missions around without him and taking the kids. And
we haven't seen her for 6 months. Good
to have some consistent pussy at home.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was, honestly, I'll give it to you. It was a good line.
No, it wasn't.
So the thing I loved the most about this episode was every fucking time Bilby looks at O'Brien and says, oh, I can tell just by looking at you, you're the saddest man in the universe. I know
so
you like that,
alone,
like
O'Brien.
anything.
You should try getting yourself a girlfriend.
Okay, right?
Okay.
Now, I get that they're like, all right, we got a mole, which means we can't send in any of our own operatives. It has to be some rando. Did they not look at the man's record and psychological profile?
No.
Because O'Brien is not a man who deals in gray areas.
That's true.
He sees the universe in very black and white.
He's too honest. He's incredibly honest.
Right. This is not a man you send to go undercover, which is one of the grayest areas in the world, where you do have to befriend people, and a part of you, despite all the training in the world, will maybe start to genuinely like them, and then you have to screw them over.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And then
take their
P.S. Yeah, P.S. Don't lie to him about what's going to happen. Or if you do, don't then tell him the truth.
True.
Yeah, it
He
does
will
seem strange.
not take it well.
It does seem very strange that of all the people that they could have chosen, they chose O'Brien.
Yeah.
Miles Brunt.
Was it because he was gonna know how to
Engineer
do
things?
engineering stuff, so he could impress them? Was that the idea?
Well, it's very, very clear, since we see a couple scenes of what's happening on DS9 in O'Brien's absence, and that's that everything is falling apart. So we can only assume O'Brien is still the only engineer in all of the Alpha Quadrant. Geordi must be gone and dead. McDougal is gone. Who's our friend? Argyle is missing. Everyone has been killed by
Rom.
And
Well, yeah, but it sounds like
yeah.
he's the one that was left in charge.
Well, that's what Quark
Don't they
said.
mention Rom?
That's what Quark said because of how badly everything's been going.
Oh, well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, it does kind of stretch credulity that Starfleet Intelligence, their best, yeah, I do understand. Okay, yeah, their operatives have been compromised, but at the same time, they how far down the list of possible see, this is the thing. I wonder though. We don't know too much about what O'Brien did before the Enterprise. We know that he was in the war.
Yeah.
We know that he was at Setlik 3.
He was a
maybe he was involved in
while.
some kind of military intelligence for all we know.
I'm gonna doubt that.
Maybe he does have some experience here.
Now, if this was an Argyle episode, I'd be right behind it.
I mean, that's the only way I could see this working is if, O'Brien had prior experience with, if not undercover espionage shit, then at least special operations.
Yeah, I just see none of that in his character is the thing.
Yeah, remember, this is the same Starfleet Intelligence that decided to send a 70-odd-year-old captain, his CMO, and a mad Klingon on an undercover mission once.
Oh, you're talking chain of command.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking Gambit when Picard was doing, he was undercover then too, right?
Yeah, this episode, I don't remember the setup of Gambit though, because it opened, just like with this episode, it opened with Picard already embedded with the baddies.
I think Gambit was more that he was on vacation and got caught up in this bullshit, so he had to like put himself undercover, basically.
Well, the final Row episode that I know we saw, the title of which is escaping me, was like that too. It's like, oh, let's send just whoever we've got lying around instead of like people who are trained in this undercover to potentially get killed. They do this all the time, and I wrote in both episodes that we're covering today, why is it their job?
Yeah.
Why is this something you're trusting with people who already have jobs to do? Miles is the most important engineer in the quadrant. He needs to be doing that work. Come on.
Well, let's say, okay, well, let's just say this, though. Like, what if, let's recast O'Brien as a John Rambo type figure. Like, during the war, he was, like, part of an elite infiltration force that, like, you know, did all kinds of shady behind the scenes shit. And he's like an elite killing machine. But since, you know, after the war ended, they they're like, fuck, we have to deprogram this guy because he's going to shoot up a police station. So they put him into some kind of engineering training. And they're like, well, you know, this guy is just on such a short fuse. We got to give him a job where he won't be able to interact with any other human beings hardly ever. So they stick him in the transport room, and he's in there for a while, and he's doing all right. So they're like, all right, you know what? We'll let O'Brien out. He's met a nice lady.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good O'Brien?
The secret agent that we've implanted on the Enterprise to keep an eye on O'Brien and make sure he doesn't go crazy has successfully infiltrated his life and is pretending to be his wife.
Nice.
So you know, she can continue to keep an eye on him. And and then he gets this other job because he's like, oh, I have an aptitude for fixing things.
Well, and they like it because it's like, oh, good. This place is going to be breaking down so constantly, he will be too busy to go off the handle.
There you go. And then you know, there's a scene where it's like somewhere in the Alpha Quadrant, and it's Starfleet Intelligence base, and they're in this like dark room with one light over them. They're like, we believe all of our agents have been compromised by the Orion Syndicate. Well, what do? We need to take these bastards down. We need to find out who the mole is. And like, there's only one man we can call.
Argyle.
Get me Curly.
Oh, right.
Code name Curly.
That's perfect. Here's the other question I have though: is this episode comes out of fucking nowhere, and I have backstory on where this fucking episode came from. Because we're in the middle of this gigantic war with the Dominion and the Cardassians and all these fucking assholes who are all over the place. But let's take a quick break from that to talk about the Orion Syndicate, because they didn't even know there was a connection with the Dominion up top.
So, one thing that bugged the hell out of me.
Just one thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a single Orion in the whole episode.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Like,
Yeah,
I get
their
that, like,
syndicate.
we're dealing with a really low-end schmuck. So, like, yeah, I'm sure most of the Orions, they're the made men. They're on Orion, whatever. You know, they're doing the big fancy jobs. They're not on this shitty little backwater. Just one, you know? Like, maybe one with Ramus.
Okay, well, hold up a sec, though. Has it been established that Orions are a species?
Yeah.
We saw an Orion slave girl.
Well, right, but those could just be, they could either be slave girls who are Orion's species, or they could be slave girls that are owned by the Orion Syndicate. So if we assume that the Orion,
That's true.
It could be that like the Orion Syndicate is just, it's not a planet Orion. In fact,
Orion is a constellation.
It's a constellation. It could just be that some group of, in this episode, all the bosses. Well, no, Bilby's human. The other guys are something else. But it could just be that the Orion Syndicate is just the mafia.
My God.
Yeah.
This explains in TAS why when we met some Orions, they looked not green at all.
Right. So it
They
could
were
be,
forgot
pink,
about that.
so it could just be that
like
at this
tribbles
point
are.
they haven't really established that Orions are a species. I feel like that doesn't even get settled really until Enterprise.
Oh.
Yeah, and Enterprise,
We see green people again.
yeah.
Interesting.
And they are explicitly stated to be the Orions.
Huh.
But yeah, no, you're right. Until that actually, yeah, up until Enterprise, that is just an assumption being made because of that scene in the
Because
cage.
there's a green woman who's identified as an Orion slave girl.
Because I think
Yeah.
even the green woman we see later, they don't specifically say. We just know she's probably the same species as that other one.
Is that the
Yeah.
one from the mental asylum planet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we don't see another one until Enterprise.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the assumption that at this point in time, the writers were just like, no, the Orion Syndicate, that's not a race of people, or the Orions are not a race of people. That's just what the underworld mafia is called in Star Trek.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense.
I almost like that better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than having just a race of shady people that
True.
keep
Yeah,
women
that
as
feels
slaves.
racist, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
monocultural too, and I never liked that.
Well, that's Star Trek all over, though.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of racism that I don't like.
Well, I mean, that's just an unfortunate side effect of just how science fiction works, you know? So
I
many
know.
cultures are monocultures.
It's true.
Because it's you know, it's enough effort to come up with an alien race. Imagine having to come up with, like, one that's actually diverse.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. I feel like to that end, the fact that Bilby is a human,
Yeah.
you know, and that they depict him like, yeah, he's ruthless and he kills a dude who, you know, ripped him off on some guns.
But yes, he's a gun runner. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, he's clearly a bad dude, yet where the episode goes so far out of its way to make us sympathize with him and make us feel like, oh,
why he has
poor
a cat.
Bilby, he should have.
And successfully for me, I was definitely like, oh, Bilby.
Well, yeah, because he's got a family. He has a kitty that he's nice to. He's friends with
He's
O'Brien.
got like 3 kids he's nice to.
He tries to like get O'Brien laid, which obviously he needs.
True.
Yet at the end he, kind of pays for his crimes in one way or the other.
yeah. It's you know. My point about Orion's aside, he is still very clearly just some kind of nobody within the organization, largely.
Hmm.
He's answering to a man clearly much younger than him. Like, this is as far as he's going in the organization. You know, like, he's getting all excited, oh, I'm getting ready to be moved up, stuff's changing, like, this is like, I don't know, there's kind of even this isn't the best example because they were still a little higher up, but in Goodfellas, there's like the 3 of them, and only one of them's actually full Italian. So like the other 2 who are like Italian and something else, they talk about the fact they can never be made men. And you feel like that's kind of the case with Bilby. Like whatever it takes to be a made man in the Orion Syndicate, he's missing it. And he knows it, but he could still be
he's a fucking terrible judge of character, for starters.
True.
But go on. Sorry.
But yeah, there is something just sort of sad about him, you know?
Speaking of things that are sad about Bilby, this is actually very sad because they originally cast a different actor in the role, and they were like very, very excited. It would have been like this veteran actor, Charles Hallahan, who they were so excited looked a little like Cole Meany, and they were like, oh man, we could play into that. It could feel more like a father-son dynamic, and O'Brien could kind of see him as a father figure, and that would be very interesting. And then the betrayal at the end would be that much more impactful. But the poor guy died a couple days before shooting of a heart attack.
Oh no, that is
So
sad.
they called in their second choice, basically, who said, okay, I'll play the role in Hallahan's honor. And
Wow.
it's very sad.
So what you're saying is he didn't have the stuff to make it in the mob, and he only had the stuff to make it in this episode because the other guy died.
It was okay. I liked his acting.
Oh no, I thought he was great. I don't actually mean anything by it.
Yeah, I'm just curious what that extra bit of oomph would have been to like see a different relationship between O'Brien and Bilby would have been cool.
Oh, it would have been amazing. Because I feel like it was already there in some ways anyhow, you know what I mean? Like, even if they weren't pushing it as hard, it did kind of feel that way.
Yeah, you can definitely. I just looked him up, and yeah, there's a resemblance. Similar shaped heads, kind of curly brown hair.
Looks like a potato.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of preferred the fact that he was just a buddy. You know, like I feel like the father figure angle almost would have been a little too much.
Oh, possibly. Because, yeah, like, I likened this to a couple episodes where you sent Geordi off to do something, and then he ends up accidentally befriending the enemy. And you're like, damn it, Geordi, we can't send you out in these missions anymore. And same fucking thing with O'Brien.
It actually would have made sense if Bilby was Irish, like explicitly Irish, because then it would have made more sense to be like, oh, they send O'Brien because they can talk about the old country or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, the original story was almost entirely different, which is very strange, because I guess when the writer who came in and did the pitch heard that they were picking up his story and they explained what they were going to do with the story, he's like, do you have the right guy? This wasn't at all my pitch. Because it would have been Jake Sisko saves the life of a girl who happens to be a daughter of some syndicate bigwig, and all of a sudden, all good things start happening for Jake. He makes all these friends from the syndicate who are, like, helping him out. Until he gets in too deep and it starts getting bad, and the side plot would have been Quark trying to weasel his way into the syndicate. Which is kind of funny and cute, but entirely almost nothing about this episode.
That sounds like a good episode too.
Yeah, they still could have made that episode.
Yeah.
Because that's a completely different story.
Yeah, it only contains the syndicate as a thing that is in the story.
And we mentioned them before.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Hell, lady, the first person to have the little neck computer thing. That lady was a deep cover. Yeah, she was dealing with the syndicate.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Bizarre. Yeah, for me, this one was like, it was fine, largely. I thought it was entertaining enough. Caitlin pointed out, there really were, like, kind of over-egging the pudding on, like, oh, yeah, I swore for you, and
I witnessed for
this guy, you'd be dead next to him, and blah, blah. Like, we get it. We get it.
He stuck his neck out. We all got it. Thank you.
But that last scene did up the average a little on the episode itself. I think it was really well done.
It was a nice scene.
Deeply sad and tragic. The guy basically realizing, like, wow, I wasn't even your target. I'm so unimportant.
Oh my god, yeah, that was sad.
I'm just, like, collateral damage.
Whoopsie.
In your hunt for something more important.
And he's like, you're not just collateral damage. You're my friend.
You see,
which makes you collateral damage.
I think
that's about right, yeah.
The Federation, the whoever the guy was, the handler, whoever
Chadwick.
The people running this op sucked.
Yeah.
Because a couple things.
Yeah.
So all of the clandestine meetings that O'Brien has with him are like out on a city street, and not even a crowded city street, just like
nope.
Just talking at full volume.
Yep.
About the secret plan that they're going with. It's like, if the Orion Syndicate had their shit together, there would be somebody, tailing O'Brien to make sure he wasn't a fucking secret agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the next thing, it's like, okay, so Chadwick tells O'Brien, oh, yeah, we're going to arrest Bilby and he'll go to jail and, but he'll be all right. Which, fine. Why didn't they just do that? Like, they knew that they were going to go to,
Listen, you never changed your mind? Come on.
Like, they could have, like, what they do when the FBI does something like this, they bust down the door and they arrest everybody, including their undercover.
Yeah.
They make it look like, no, we had a bug in the ceiling the whole time. We knew what was going on. They don't blow the cover until much, much later.
Was the answer that they wanted to know what the Dominion's involvement was, and because they didn't realize that before?
But they did. Once at the point where they had the plan to go and assassinate the Klingon dude, that's when you spring the trap and arrest everybody. And then, you don't you don't have to kill Bilby. He can just be arrested. You can interrogate him and find out more about the inner workings of the organization.
Yep.
Potentially. And and you can protect him and his family.
And his cat.
And his cat.
Mm-hmm.
His 3 handsome daughters.
And you don't have to let him know that, you could just be like, yeah, O'Brien, you could even, dude, you got fucking phasers. O'Brien could get shot during the storming, the raid.
Pulling a muck time.
Yeah, you'd be like, well, O'Brien died.
Nothing
Sorry,
unusual
Bilby.
there.
True.
Yeah. Starfleet Intelligence is very bad at their job.
Terrible.
Real
Absolutely terrible.
bad.
Well, again, they keep having, O'Brien come and act as their intelligence. And obviously, they're not doing great.
Nice. I noted one thing that was funny that I noticed, though, was that they realized the double agent who's been leaking information from the Federation is someone who runs the weather system on Ryza. And I thought, my God, it's Worf!
And did you notice that his name was Mr. Starfleet?
He's ascended from
Commander Starfleet. I was like,
my God.
I was like, wow, what a coincidence that the guy that's been feeding information to this Orion Syndicate is Mr. Starfleet, Commander Starfleet's great grandson.
Mr. Starfleet himself?
But I noticed that too, Ames, because my thought was like, wait a minute. When did Starfleet take over Ryza's weather control system?
Probably after fucking Worf let the terrorists win.
Man, that's
actually
why
would work. That fits.
That's why they didn't discipline him. He gave them the aim they've been looking for years to take over the Ryza weather system.
Yeah. They probably had to step up security after they realized just how fucking easy it is to make that planet into a swamp.
Well, and plus, honestly, so many of their people are, going there for vacations and shit. They have to be careful,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, though, how easy it was to turn that guy. Yeah, he paid him a bunch of money to make sure it wouldn't rain when they scheduled it. It's like, that's all it took? Jesus, Starfleet.
Yeah, well, Starfleet doesn't have money, so...
I was just going to say, Starfleet doesn't pay very well.
So it's like, if anybody's giving you money, it's like,
And that's interesting. This place, what was it? The Farius Prime, the lesser known of the Autobot leaders, has its own currency. They have wads of paper cash they're flinging around. It's not even Latinum.
I bet you they're like Latinum certificates, though. There's a vault somewhere.
Because it felt, pretty universal Latinum. But again, I think that was just more for the looking more like a mafia movie. Because there's always guys walking around like, you take this and go get yourself something nice.
Yeah,
unlike
Quark's little briefcases of Latinum that they use for Tongo.
Christ.
Oh my God, we'll get there, and it was hilarious.
Bad use of space.
And the Bank of Bolia has been robbed again.
Yeah, man, bad week for Bolia.
I was gonna open up an account there. Oh, maybe find someplace with better security.
Oh, luckily they got all of Morn's savings out in time.
Yeah, they didn't get. But they had a huge withdrawal, right?
Yeah, I was say not again. That's right. They robbed the bank of wherever Morn was from, but they were keeping it
Lithia or whatever it was
in the Bank of Bolia. God, that was a boring heist.
Yeah, I wasn't following any of what was going on because it was all going on inside Kroll's head or some shit.
Yeah, and they're like, I can just imagine when they were watching that scene, they're like, man, we got to get some tense music in here because this is fucking dead air.
I mean, it took me a minute to realize it even was a heist. I thought they were just ordering sandwiches again. That really establishes. Good.
Oh no, I did like where soft drink machines are evolving to in the future. Because we already have the ones where it's you can add different flavors to them that you can see in a Five Guys or some shit. Now it's these weird things that you plug into your neck.
That's right.
And that's how you get whatever flavor soda you want?
Yeah.
Does that mean I don't have to push buttons anymore? I can just think about that strawberry cream soda I want so bad?
Christ, what happened to Chris?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. What are you doing?
He's lost in his mind.
I had a thought and it just died on the wing.
God.
We were talking about sodas. Oh, yeah. Like, that really, though, right away did a very good job of setting up the fact that, like, yeah, this is the Orion Syndicate, but these three guys aren't the big ones. Because their whole, like, their scheme, the first scheme we see them pulling is, we're going to order lunch. Who's going to pay for it that isn't us? And I'm like, really? This is your devious scheme? You're going to have the DPW pay for your sandwiches?
Devious
That's who they settle on, is the DPW.
Yeah, well, they already made the cops pay.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, I earlier I called them like good fellas. No, these are the good feathers.
Yeah.
Like, this is the level we're dealing with now.
Which one scene that kind of made me laugh is that the Vorta makes the classic villain mistake, right? He explains the entire devious plot in excruciating detail to the people that don't need to know.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're being paid to go assassinate a dude. Go do that. We don't need to tell you the fucking, and then the Federation will be left all on their own.
It would be way more interesting to watch O'Brien come to that conclusion on his own than for us to be told that. Like how in One Little Ship, you watch Dax and O'Brien watching what's happening, and they figure out, I see what the plan is, because we can figure it out because we're smart.
Well, O'Brien on his own, less smart.
If he tells Chadwick could figure it out.
Vorta loved monologuing. The real irony there was that the ambassador was almost killed by his own coils.
Yeah.
Curses, coiled again.
Because they got the coils from the Klingon ambassador.
Yeah. I gotta say, too, calling the head guy Chadwick, I get it was like, it sounds like a shitty bureaucrat name. But now in this day and age,
it's the Black Panther.
Yeah, it's like Chadwick Boseman, and suddenly it's a tougher name than it used to be.
He sounds like he should be
sounded kind of like secret agenty, though. Like, yes, Chadwick.
He sounds like a Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
It's got a James Bondy feel to it. And man, speaking of which, how fucking pissed do you think Julian is that when Starfleet needs a secret agent, they show up at Deep Space Nine and they get O'Brien?
Yeah. Hey.
Because Julian could not keep it cool. That's the problem. Julian would be flashing it around.
He would have banged the prostitute.
He'd be the Archer of Starfleet.
Yeah, he'd be in that bar in a full tux.
Oh, yeah.
And telling people he's a secret agent and who he works for. Like, that's what I mean. Like, he would take a trip to Whore Island.
Yeah.
See, that's what's great, though, is Bilby still would have befriended him. And the guy's been like, Bilby, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, come on. You think an actual secret double agent's going to be sitting there in the bar all day saying, I'm a secret double agent? Bah!
Now he has a new accent.
He's got it on his
Gabagool!
face.
Give me some of that Orion Gabagool!
Slapping alien mozzarella.
Yum.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't. I don't know what I mean.
But yeah, this was an interesting episode. Again, like, Starfleet Intelligence, terrible at their job.
Yep.
Did not read the psych profile on O'Brien. It's like, you remember that time? Remember that time where he told the Prime Directive to go fuck itself and almost caused
Yeah, but that's how you make captain around here.
Intergalactic incident with our first species we've met from the Delta Quadrant because he was mad about their hunting practices? This is the guy you're gonna send in as a mole? Like,
listen, O'Brien did nothing wrong.
No, he didn't, but he is not the right profile for this kind of job. He is too... Like, what do you think of his morality? Because there's bits of it which are not great. He has a very specific one. It is very black and white. This is not a man who deals in vagary.
And now he's stuck with a cat for the rest of his life.
No,
there's
Keiko's
no
gonna
way.
make him get rid of the cat immediately.
No.
Yeah, but she's never coming home. She left. He doesn't realize it yet.
Already shipped that cat off to the Rozhenkos.
Oh.
Actually, yeah.
Why
maybe.
are the Rozhenkos?
Because they wind up with their runes cast offs.
They take all the orphans.
I think you should give him to fucking Data.
I
think he should send him off to, be with his family. Which, by the way, there's a wife and 2 kids.
Oh, I thought that there were 3. I thought he was like, these are my daughters.
No, that was kids. One of them was his wife.
Oh, well.
And I think it was a boy and a girl, too. I thought
it was 3 girls, and it was all his daughters. But whatever. Who cares?
The
only
cat
thing
was
I
the
want.
prettiest one.
That's correct. The one thing that I like literally let me go, oh fuck, rewind that. I gotta write it down because it made me so uncomfortable. There's that scene where what the fuck is the dickhead's name?
Gelman?
Gelman? Yeah. They're chatting with Gelman about Bilby's last big score here and the big job he's going to do that's going to make him a made man. And Bilby's like, yeah, whatever you need. And he's like, so accommodating. Reminds me of a Jem'Hadar. And it just made me have pukey feelings because it just felt very much like, oh, yes, just like that race that we created and enslaved. Gross. I don't know. It just made me gag. But it was a great line, and Gelman gave it really well. As a side note, though, Ames, you made a note here that says this is the Vorta we remember from One Little Ship.
Yeah.
First of all, I did not remember him from One Little Ship because... But
he
is
showed
that
up
the
on
one
the
that...
screen for all of 10 seconds.
Is this the one that Justice thought might have been played by Iggy Pop?
Yeah, but he is not Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop was Yelgren.
Yeah, I know he wasn't Iggy Pop. I remember that conversation. I wanted to make sure that I was thinking of the right guy.
Yep,
Yeah,
that
same guy.
Cool.
Yeah,
it was a fun
I
episode
kind
and
of
it made
wonder
me
if,
very
like,
sad.
considering how little he did in One Little Ship, it kind of makes me wonder if, like, while they were filming his scenes for this episode, they're like, hey, we need a Vorta for One Little Ship to say something on the screen. Let's just get this actor who's already in makeup and costume.
We've already got the headpiece on him.
Let's just get him up against a blank wall and film him saying some shit.
I like to think that they like ran him through all of the possible things that could have happened. It's like Dana Carvey and like Gerald Ford has been, died today, whatever.
Yes.
But instead it's the Vorta version. All right. Are we done with that one?
Yeah, literally all of my other notes are Chester, I love you, so.
Yeah, Chester was a very pretty kitty. We all love Chester. Well, that sure was an episode. Up next, the episode that made me the most anxious of any episode ever.
Really?
Change
I was
of
so
Heart.
bored.
Well, I know what the future holds.
Aha.
So I was like, is this the
notes.
episode? God damn it, is this when it's going to happen? And Chris was like, no. And I was like, okay, but like, is it going to happen next episode? And he's like, no.
So what happens that made you think this, Caitlin?
Well, I can't say. I don't want to tread too close to spoilers about season 7. But in Change of Heart, Worf and we got two plots. We got 2 plots.
Ish. A plot and a half.
Let's talk about the half plot real quick because it's cute and silly and stupid. So in plot 1.B, 1B, 1A, 0.5, whatever, stardate 789321.5. So Quark is having a really good run of wins on the old Tongo board. He beats Dax. He beats all his Ferengi friends. Where do those Ferengi guys come from? How are they still playing games with him?
Oh no, he's been reinstated.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. All right, fine. So anyway, he's won like what 207 games or some like 206 games?
At the top of the episode, it's 206.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, no, he's only won 6 games. I was like, no, I know it's more than that. The fuck are you talking about? Well, anyway, yeah, Quark doesn't fucking stop winning. And O'Brien is incensed by this for some reason and is like, why do I keep going down the rapids of the same river, dislocating the same shoulder over and over, Crimson and Clover?
It's to visit Julian in Medbay, that's why.
That's correct. But he wants to beat Quark. And so he's practicing his Tongo. And Julian, O'Brien teaches him the rules of Tongo real quick. And like 18 seconds later, he understands the game better than O'Brien and probably better than 99% of people that have ever played Tongo and is like, LOL, O'Brien, you suck, you're never gonna win. And O'Brien's like, okay, but what if we have a training montage where I teach you how to play Tongo and then you whip Quark's ass? And that's what we do. Bashir learns Tongo and he goes to challenge Quark. And he's actually doing really fucking good. And then Quark's like, well, I'm getting close to losing. Time to start using the old mind games on this fucking human. So he's like, wow, that Dax, she sure is married. She sure isn't having sex or loving us, huh? Am I right? And Julian's like, yeah, that is right. And then Quark's like, well, I win. Bye. And that's that. So we get to another season 7 type thing. We get to get that little hint that Bashir is still hung up on Jadzia.
Makes more sense than Quark being hung up on Jadzia.
I don't know.
Shrug.
The thing is I think Quark cares about a lot of things more than he pretends to. Like, I kind of feel like he's the kind of character where we just really never know where he stands. Like, when he kisses Rom because he's glad he's not dead, I mean, I know you would think, well, yeah, they're like brothers or whatever, but I was never really sure if Quark just liked having a punching bag around or if he honestly loved his brother, you know, and I feel like you could say that about anything Quark cares about. I think that he doesn't really let on. So, truthfully, maybe he is carrying a big old torch for Jadzia. I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe we don't need to know. But anyway, at the very least, we know Julian is. I mean, like, duh, though. I mean, like, obviously. Especially because, I don't know. Julian's not. I feel like
doing the summary.
Yeah, this is still the summary. I feel like sorry. So anyway, that's the 1.2 plot, whatever the fuck, plot 2.0. The real plot is that Jadzia and Worf they're gonna go like pick up a defecting Cardassian because they want his info, I guess, but they can't just beam him up. They have to beam down, or they have to land on a planet that seems to be infested with albino Burmese pythons and lizards and things that are attacking them. Yeah, and then, of course, Jem'Hadar's. And so they have a fight and they want this guy because he's defecting from Cardassia. It's his last chance to get away, and he's probably got lots of info. And they're like, we really like info, so come get it. But the Jem'Hadar attack, and our girl Jadzia is like critically injured. Like, well, they missed your organs, but they shot you with an anticoagulant, which means you're never going to stop bleeding. So good fucking luck.
And we still have like 3 days of marching in the jungle to do. So
yeah. And so every time we see them, Worf is like, "Oh, your blood pressure's down 20%," and I'm like, "You can't be down 20% more than once, probably, and have it be livable. Like, this seems like really bad. 20% seems like too big of a number." So eventually, you know, Jadzia is like obviously gonna die, and Worf's like, "Well, I gotta go finish the mission." And Jadzia's like, "Yeah, you do." And Worf's like, "I mean, it's really important." And Jadzia's like, "Yeah, I know, you really do. Go right ahead." And Worf's like, "Because I mean, I could get in big trouble if I don't finish this mission." And Jadzia's like, "No, like, I really get it. You should do what you have to do. Like, I'll be right here." And Worf's like, "All right, bye." But he can't do it because he's actually, it turns out, like a really, as Chris put it, much better husband than a boyfriend. He's just really good at taking care of, wanting to take care of Jadzia. So he spits in the face of his orders, which is wild. It's really not Worfly of him. And he scoops Jadzia up, and they get the fuck out of there. And the probably huge piece of shit asshole Cardassian that they were gonna save, he gets killed. It's really too bad, actually. But it's not. Fuck him. He's probably garbage. Like, really, who cares? You know all the information we could have got from that guy? Yeah, but fuck him. And so they get home, and Jadzia has surgery, and she's okay. Thank God. I was really, really getting freaked out. And Cisco's like, Worf, as your captain, I gotta tell you, you're really fucked up back there. You really blew it. I mean, you went back for her even though we had to finish the mission. And Worf's like, yep, that happened. And then Cisco was like, but like on the DL, I would have fucking done the same thing. And
then Julian bursts in and says, "Jadzia, I still love you."
And then she fucking flatlines the end. The end of the episode, the end of Deep Space Nine. It's all fucking over.
So, really funny story.
Oh, no.
Not really funny, but it's pretty funny. I remembered the Worf getting a dressing down scene.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I had put it at the end of the Ryza episode.
Oh.
So
there's no consequences from that episode.
Yeah, we got to that episode, there were no consequences. I was like, wait, what does Worf do that causes that dressing down? And it's like, this? Fuck you!
I mean, I don't know.
He deserved a dressing down.
He did fuck up.
But
he
here's the thing.
got a man killed.
Here's the thing, right? For reasons two people that are in no way, like, trained for this sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, the episode of Why Is This Their Job?
Yeah, like, they're sent to pick up a transmission. Okay, that's fine. That's within their wheelhouse. But then it's like, you have to come do this dangerous exfiltration.
I need a ride home, guys.
Without even being able to check with Starfleet Intelligence, who maybe, you know, had it been Starfleet Intelligence, there's no guarantee they would have gone for it. You know? Like, if there's one thing intelligence people want with their sources, it's to keep them there as long as possible. And, like, neither Jadzia nor Worf is qualified. They know nothing about this man. They know nothing about his record. They have no way to make him prove that any of what he is saying is true.
True.
About, like, I'm about to be rumbled. This and that. And, like, here's the thing. Like, all right, clearly at least enough of it was true because they did kill the fucker. But let's say he'd successfully defected. The Founders and the Dominion would have figured it out really, really quickly, would have realized, shit, this guy knows where all the Founders are, and they would have extracted the Founders before Starfleet Intelligence could have been used any of that information.
All those snakes that we saw in the jungle were changelings.
They were founders, yeah.
Well, I wonder how easy it is to, you know, even for the Dominion, because I'm imagining the Founders that are out there are deep undercover.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how easy it is even for them to contact those Founders to be like, hey, you've been rumbled, you gotta get out of Dodge. So I mean, it could be that, you know, the Founders that are undercover doing shit, you know, just do their shit until it's done and then get out.
Couldn't they theoretically call from anywhere just dressed up as like an admiral and be like, hey, I need to talk to Captain whoever the fuck. They could be anywhere and then be like, oh, hey, Captain, you're going to need to withdraw. Wink.
Yeah, I say this every goddamn fucking week that they have not been utilizing the changeling power like at fucking all.
That we know of.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh, shit, that's a janks.
Like Lazarin says, I know how many changelings there are in the Alpha Quadrant. And I'm betting to you, like, the answer that he's going to give Starfleet would have been like, 3 million. Good luck!
Yeah.
Whereas we know there were, what,
literally
4
everyone
on Earth? 3? Like, that's the thing. In reality, there probably aren't that many. They probably just have them in very key positions.
I also find it unusual. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that probably what really happened is the Dominion was like, this Cardassian dude, we have strong suspicions that he might be leaking shit to the feds. So we're going to slip him some information.
Some fake info.
Ooh, some real gold.
You know, and see what happens. And if he makes a break for it, we kill him. You know, I think that was probably the more likely scenario because I do not see any circumstance in which the Founders would allow a Cardassian underling to know their locations.
Yeah, some nobody.
Yeah.
But yeah, like... Sorry, go on. I thought you were done.
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
But yeah, like, and again, like, it's one thing to send these two to intercept the transmission. But then it's like, we're being strong-armed into doing this really delicate exfiltration mission by this douchebag. And again, like, at the end, Sisko's like, yeah, I've made it a rule that you two can't be sent alone on missions together. That should have already been a rule.
Yeah, it's probably a good call in retrospect.
There's already, I mean, they had to be put in place for sad reasons, but, like, there's already rules in the Navy that members of a family can't serve on the same ship.
Saving Private Ryan, man.
Fuck Saving Private Ryan, man.
Never saw it.
Kill that guy.
Yeah, don't save Private Ryan.
Yeah,
it's Matt Damon. Spoiler alert.
In the Navy.
He's Matt Damon, that's the spoiler.
Did I ever tell you that story that's actually a thing?
He wasn't a big actor.
He wasn't a big actor when they recorded, when they made Saving Private Ryan, he wasn't like a household name, but between the time he was cast in that and the time it came out, they made Good Will Hunting and he became super famous.
When was Dogma? He was good in Dogma.
That was after.
It was after, really? I have
He was-
no sense of time.
He was like a small time actor prior to Good Will Hunting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's that, I forget the name, but there were these 4 brothers who like finagled all working on the same ship during World War II. Ship went down, all 4 brothers lost.
Oh, fuck. That is
So,
sad.
no more family on the same ship.
I mean, at least
it's-
you save on funeral costs that way.
Oh, God!
What funeral cost? They were lost at sea, weren't they?
That's
yeah, but
true
then you
to
only
the
have
point.
one wake.
Yeah,
collectively.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, fine. We're both right.
One headstone. You only have to pay the engraver once.
And I get that Starfleet is...
Here doesn't lie this entire family.
God.
Just list all the names and check all that apply.
Oh, no.
You only have to carve the date of death once. It's just
my
you know,
God.
there's like all the birth dates and then the arrow and then just one death date. You save a fortune. You save a fortune getting it done that
Were
way.
you
You know,
trying to
this is
say
awful.
something, Chris?
Since we've already gone here, I'm going to say
no.
something on the record that's pissed me off for years.
Uh-oh.
John F. Kennedy Jr., right? His
Who is alive, by the way.
His
according to
plane goes
QAnon.
down. He's lost at sea.
Is this going to be Star Trek related or no?
No, it's related to...
God damn it.
Ames. Silly Ames.
And he goes down at
Silly,
sea.
sweet,
A girl can
naive
dream.
Ames.
And they spend all this fucking money to find a civilian lost. It never would have happened if he wasn't fucking Kennedy's son. They find him, and then they bury him at sea. Like, really?
But that don't you
They
understand,
did.
Chris? Chris, don't you know that whole thing was a fucking hoax?
I know.
And
I know.
that he's actually alive, and that he's going to come out and stop the steal any
I
day
know.
now,
And the vax.
Trump will be president.
Is he
obviously.
Q? Holy fuck, it's Q!
Oh, you know, a lot of people think he's Q.
Yeah.
That's awful. All right, I'm going to bring it
actually
back
the
to
thing.
Star
Yes,
Trek.
please do.
Because we were talking about movies for reasons, and I watched a movie this week.
Oh,
Oh.
God damn, kill me dead. I keep watching these stupid fucking movies. It
gotta
was
stop.
another John Wayne movie, of course.
why do you
it
keep
was.
watching John Wayne movies?
Jesus.
But here's the connection. It was the Green Berets, which featured George
Oh
Takei.
no, not the Green Berets.
And I was like, oh, right, this is the film that George Takei was not around for a lot of episodes of TOS. Whenever we'd say, where's
Yeah,
Sulu?
yeah, that's
the
right.
answer was Vietnam.
Yep.
So I watched this movie because I saw that there was like a connection that certain elements of this movie were inspiring this episode. And I watched it. It's bad. It's pointless and dumb. And the whole point of John Wayne wanted to make this movie was people don't seem to like Vietnam. Let's make a movie that'll make them think we should belong in Vietnam. Fuck
Ugh.
you, John Wayne. But the
Propaganda
points.
film, eh?
Yep.
Hmm? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There's no plot. It's all just a string of scenes that are all just stuff that happened in Vietnam.
Did George Takei play a Vietnamese character?
Of course he did.
Oh boy.
His name was Nim.
Did we ever tell you about the time he showed up in Murder, She Wrote, and it was the most offensive thing I've ever fucking seen in my life?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
Oh no. No,
And
not
keep in
nearly
mind
enough,
that it
George.
was in the 80s when he didn't need to get paid to be a fucking stereotype because he was already,
I don't know.
established.
I think in the 80s, outside of like the Star Trek movies, I don't think any of them were getting a ton of work other than Shatner.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm still. I've been very slowly getting through the DeForest Kelley book because it's not great. Sorry, guys, it's not great. And yeah, after Star Trek, he was just like, "Oh, I guess everything sucks now." Great, good for me. But no, yeah. So this movie barely has any George Takei. He dies very pointlessly.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy at
He's
least?
a good guy.
Okay, that's good.
He takes a whole bunch of VC with him, so good for him,
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh no.
But no, the stuff that kind of inspired this episode was, there's a lot of traipsing around in the jungle. So as I'm watching this episode, I'm just waiting for booby traps, because there were lots of booby traps in this movie. No booby
Alright.
traps in any of this episode. Fuck it. And then also, like, the whole trying to extract somebody, which was almost not even a point in the Green Berets. It was like the most afterthought of plots that comes in the last 20 minutes of the movie. So yeah, God
it sounds
damn
like you could have just as well as watched Apocalypse Now and it would have connected as much.
Yeah, that's about
Possibly.
or our Rambo 2.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't
Yeah,
have had George Takei.
True. Yeah, I've never seen Green Berets, but I remember reading about it, and it was basically an attempt to be like, hey, we made all those really successful propaganda movies during World War II, some of which have gone on to just be classics in their own right. Surely we can do the same thing with movies in Vietnam.
It's on Roger Ebert's one of his worst movies lists.
I'm sorry, I just called it Rambo 2. The actual title of the film is Rambo First Blood Part 2.
That's right. That's right. Yes, it is. But yeah, no, Worf finally doing the right thing. Orders go fuck yourself.
Wrong reasons.
For all the right reasons.
Oh.
Like I said, better husband than boyfriend.
Well, honestly, yeah, I agree though, the episode at least did a good job of explaining why it's the two of them on this mission, because number one, initially it was just supposed to be to intercept, they thought they were just getting a transmission.
Just get a phone call. They can do that.
Yep. Kira says like, oh, the Defiant's gone and the other runabouts are out. So it's kind of, you guys are the last of the Starfleet folks aboard. So good luck. So we know why it's the two of them.
Did they take a roundabout or the Defiant?
Although it could have been fucking Curly. Like Curly was there. Why didn't they send him?
Because he was busy
still fixing shit.
Being sad over Bilby's death.
Yeah, he was still catching up on work orders.
Yeah. Or they tried. He's like, look, I got a nose for this shit. Something's gonna go hooey, and I just did hooey. Send somebody else.
And then obviously the exfiltration is sprung on them, and like what a dick move is like. Listen, I need you to rescue me, and I can't give you any time to think about it. It's like when those fucking assholes came to my house to try and install a new roof. Did I tell you about this bullshit? These sons of bitches show up. Door-to-door salesman, they're like, oh, it looks like your roof's shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of shit. And they're like, all right, well, here's a really overpriced quote.
They stayed in our dining room for like 3 fucking hours.
Awful. Yeah, they did this long fucking sales spiel for like an hour and a half or longer. And then at the end of it, when I'm finally like, okay, just give me the fucking quote. They give me the quote. It's no kidding, twice as much money as I was expecting a quote for this to be, because I have a general idea of what this stuff should cost. So it's twice as much. And then they say to me, not fucking kidding, they say, well, that's the normal price, but if you agree before we leave tonight,
we'll charge you twice as much.
We'll knock off like 20%. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to make... And when I say, I'm talking in the tens of thousands of dollars, right? Like more than a car. And I'm like, well, I don't make financial decisions on the spot like this. And they just wouldn't take no for an answer until finally I was just like, well, listen, I really have to ask you to leave. And like, they were kind of pissy about it. And they're like, well, I remember, you don't have to go with our company, but really take it from me as a fucking expert in roofs that, you got to get this fixed. You're in serious danger. I was like, oh, fuck you. What is that, a threat? So, and then they fucking called me the next day. Their boss apparently is like, I am the supervisor. I'm like, okay. And they're like, listen, we're willing to extend to you for 1 day extra only the special price that you were offered. I'm like, I don't want to, I'm not making this decision. Okay. And then like they were hounding me for weeks.
Yep.
With the same shit. And every time they'd leave a message, I stopped answering the phone. They'd leave the message and say, okay, well, the introductory price that we offered is going away. It's not going to be there much longer. And like, at one point I picked up, I'm like, listen, I got another company to do it. I'm not interested. Go away. Anyway.
And I did a fine job.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for stapling some paper to my roof.
It was so fun. I almost died.
It's really soggy up there.
We have a very steep roof.
Anyway, but that's what it made me think of. I was like, listen, this guy should get hired by that fucking roofing company. Because if he weren't dead.
I don't know. See, I thought it was a matter of they are Starfleet officers. This is their job. Is it their job to make this decision? In this case, yes. Should it be? God fucking no. But it was their job to get this stuff from this guy. And then I guess them getting this guy wasn't a logical enough leap for me to be like, yeah, they should get this guy because he's their secret agent and they need this information. Dominion War, all this shit. So it didn't bother me at all that it was a good idea to save this guy. He was a jerk, but that's fine. I'm a jerk.
I do think though that
You're not a genocidal jerk, though.
like maybe there's always like a buddy system, but if I were in the situation, if I were in Worf's position, I would have ordered Jadzia to stay on the ship.
Yeah, maybe.
Not just because for safety reasons, but just because like they've landed a fucking Federation starship on a hostile planet.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody really should have stayed.
And just left it there.
And it's what, a 2-day walk out, 2-day walk back?
Yeah.
So like she could have stayed on the ship, and if there was problems, or like if the Jem'Hadar found it, she could defend the ship perhaps a little bit. Or if like they got killed while they were doing this, there would just be a fucking ship there that the Jem'Hadar would be like, oh look, free fucking ship full of intelligence.
And meals ready to eat.
Yeah, I mean they're lucky they sent a long-range ship and not just like a shuttle. He'd be like, you have to come get me now. We literally can't. We max out at warp 2 and have no rations. Like,
yeah. So honestly, like, unless there's like a policy where you always have to have a buddy, really, it should have just been Worf going out there.
Yeah.
I can see a policy where you should have a buddy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, like this whole thing was just so badly bungled. Like, what? Why? Yeah. Again, we wouldn't have a story. But I mean, like we always say how like every ship should have a lawyer. Deep Space Nine especially should have a Starfleet Intelligence field office.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be permanent spies there.
Well, I think right now in the middle of the war, their populace has been decimated. So this is what's left.
Well, there should also just be, I think we've also said this a lot, there should just be starships there.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that a runabout and 2 officers was all they had to send out.
Well, that, honestly, in this case, when it's like you're trying to be kind of discreet to what you think is just going to be pick up a little signal and come home, that maybe, yeah, let's just send a little thing and not a full-ass ship. That's
this is why
almost
you need
suspicious.
A ton more Defiants, because they can cloak, they can do more shit, and yet there's still just one of them.
Well, no, only the Defiant can cloak.
Yeah.
The other Defiant class ships cannot.
Why not? That's dumb.
Because the Romulans only gave them the one cloak.
Yeah, they borrowed that cloak from the Romulan government.
And they made promises which they broke. I'm actually surprised the Romulans haven't taken it back yet.
And then we never saw Tarul again.
Nope.
She's dead.
That's why they haven't taken it back.
Because they just don't know about it. Someone forgot about it.
I also imagine, too, it's better to send a smaller ship into the Badlands because it's kind of a nightmare and it's easier to maneuver.
I mean, it's called the Badlands.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So all you really need to know are the bad... What is it called? No, but not Badlands.
Yeah, the Badlands.
That's so stupid.
It's bad, and there's land.
It's just dumb.
No, it's part of that whole frontier thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, all right, that's the Badlands up there.
Well, the frontier thing oftentimes is kind of stupid.
They've largely set by the wayside, yes.
Yeah, so this episode starts off, and I'm like, oh god, no. It's gonna be just like Ryza Planet again, with Worf and Jadzia bickering and bickering.
Sitting
and
in a tree, BITCHING.
Yeah, they do for like the first third to half of the episode, and I was like, ugh. Jadzia's being cute and funny, which I'm about. Worf is being a brat, and all of the jokes are very forced. God damn this episode. And then it suddenly has this very serious turn. You're like, oh god!
Well, see, even though I even enjoyed their back and forth this one, because it was less like, because Worf was trying to be fun, and your mileage may vary on how much you thought he succeeded, but like, he seemed like, yeah, like you said, he was just a lot more chill. He was like, yeah, all right. I think if anything, he was like, oh god, you want to go to Ryza, don't you? And they're like, no, this planet. It's like, oh, okay.
It's like Ryza on crack.
Oh no. But
with like more spa treatments, it seems.
I'd go for that.
That's another good thing. It's a really good thing that the night before this mission they weren't expecting to be on, they decided to have not violent sex that sent them to the infirmary.
Yeah, that's true.
Snuggly sex.
Yeah. Well, I say they must, I suggested to Caitlin they call it human style.
Okay, that's good.
Quick note on the B plot.
Yeah.
So the scene where O'Brien gets Bashir to help. You know,
and he's in his tux?
And he's in his tux. Well, that's the thing. So Bashir shows up to try and get O'Brien to play secret agent with him. And all I'm thinking is, if I was O'Brien, I'd be like, you insensitive piece of shit. Because
I didn't think of that.
Played secret agent and a man died.
Oh, no.
You son of a bitch.
Bashir,
I'm not playing James
shit.
Bond with you anymore.
Well, here's the thing, though. James Bond is the fantasy version where nothing bad ever happens.
Except that one time.
But
No.
I could imagine it being pretty fucking triggering.
Yeah, no, you're
for
right.
O'Brien
It totally. Here's the thing, though. O'Brien refuses to talk about his feelings. So you can totally be insensitive to him, and you know he's not going to call you on it.
Maybe this was all like a coping thing. Like maybe Bashir was like, I can get O'Brien to, confront this if we do like, immersion therapy or something.
There we go.
He shows up, he expects it to be like a James Bond movie, but it's just a holodeck recreation of Bilby invading the fucking Klingon thing.
Yeah, oh no.
No, watch, Miles, you must watch.
Speaking of watch, Julian had a watch on in that scene. Completely unnecessary detail. You never see it. There's one scene you can see right up his sleeve, and it's there. It's like, wow.
Costume designers are very serious.
They really are.
James Bond wears a watch.
I was going to say, it wasn't a real watch. It was so he could detonate something.
Oh, yeah, that's in Bond wears a watch. No one in Starfleet wears watches, so it's like, it is for the holodeck only. A thing we didn't have to see as the audience. I'm just saying kudos. Oh, also another thing I had meant to bring up last episode but forgot, because I didn't notice till the very, very end, but until I had actually Julian to compare him to. But they squared off O'Brien's sideburns for his undercover mission.
Oh, after his makeover, Jake is showing us a watch for some reason.
Oh, it's his GoldenEye
That's
watch.
the GoldenEye watch.
The GoldenEye
Nice.
watch got the 007 hologram on. I got this from Nintendo Power.
Oh, and it's
Sweet.
got the health bar and the shield, the
body armor
shield
bar.
body armor bar on the side. Yeah.
Very nice. Please take a photo.
I feel like we've featured it before, haven't we?
Maybe.
It's not the first time we've seen it.
But yeah, they squared off O'Brien's sideburns, because in Starfleet, of course, you have pointy sideburns.
That's right.
No,
And
That would have
I
been a
found
dead
the
giveaway.
Good job, Jake. I found the O'Brien and Bashir learning to play tango montage just kind of repetitive and clearly going for jokes, and I was done with it because like they do a couple of times, like at least twice. O'Brien wants Bashir to play tango with him and learn tango. And for the first time, he gives him the list of the rules. Bashir takes one look at the list of the rules and says, "Okay, deal." And then later on, it's like, "Oh, Bashir, you're the one that should do it because of all these reasons." And then whatever the final reason was, Bashir says, "Okay, deal." And I'm like, "God damn it, same joke twice. Fuck you all."
Yeah, that whole plot was unnecessary.
It was kind of silly. Like I think they were very clearly trying to do the lighter half of this episode, and then Ronald D. Moore has basically said like, "I made sure to stop the B plot like at like the midpoint of the episode because then things were going to get very serious."
Yeah.
And I didn't want silly Ferengi shenanigans making the whole thing like feel like whiplash.
See, the
That's
problem
good.
is, because it ended so early, I kept expecting there to be one more scene.
Oh no.
Because normally there is more.
Yeah, he likened it to another episode, if you guys remember, Life Support, which is the one where Bareil dies. And he says, "Man, I did a really shit job with that, with balancing that with the B plot, because Life Support, fairly serious. Bareil is dying. And the B plot was Nog and Jake have a bad blind date."
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I forgot that was that episode.
Because it doesn't work with the other plot at all.
That was a bad idea. But yeah, like, I don't know, if you're gonna just have to cut it halfway through because it's too tonally inconsistent, maybe just cut it.
Yeah, I think there could have been a better way to do it. They had an original, entirely different B plot, which would have been, I know I mentioned before, like, originally there was going to be a plot somewhere with Rom's first wife, Prinadora.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been this episode. They were like, okay, Prinadora's going to come back. She's going to want to be part of Nog's life. But in the end, it's all going to turn out to be a giant con because Prinadora's a bitch. And they decided not to go that route at all and do a different B plot entirely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love that plot, but you can see how it works in that it would be about relationships, which is really, despite all this talk of spies, the A plot was really about relationship.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have made more sense, but I don't know.
But I do wonder how many times does Worf get a pass?
Oh, so many. Every
because
fucking time.
he has fucked up so much. That they're still not gonna give him a formal reprimand or something.
Well, Sisko says, well, it's really unlikely that you're going to get a command of your own one day. And is that even what Worf wants?
It's what Michael Dorn wants, because he's been talking about a Captain Worf show for decades.
Has he really?
Oh, yeah.
I would
really
watch that
wants to do
show.
that.
Why didn't they fucking give it to him?
I don't know.
Sons of bitches.
I mean, the thing is, they kind of hand wave it this time as being like, we can't formally reprimand you because that runs the risk of giving away too much of our intelligence infrastructure.
True.
So like that was the excuse, at least this time, which is better than, say, the Ryza episode where there wasn't even an explanation. He just got away with it.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing I wanted to talk about this episode, just a minor side note, this is the 500th Trek episode.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing I wanted
What
to
an
bring up
anticlimactic 500.
was this is the at this point, Terry Farrell knows she's not coming back for season 7. At this point, Terry Farrell knows, like, she has not extended her contract. She's going to be gone. She requested, if you want to kill off my character, just do it in this episode. It'll work fine. It'll have an impact for Worf. This was a good place to do it. But they decided not to. I forget why. They decided to let her kick around for a while longer, as we will see.
Yeah, Chris
and I
told
won't
me
spoil
that when it happens, it's going to piss me off. So I'm
it's
already looking forward to that.
And we can discuss this when we do the season wrap, I'm sure, but I think the death here would have been far more impactful.
Oh, interesting.
Than
See,
what
the first
actually
thing
ended
I
up
wrote-
happening.
The first thing I wrote is, okay, so at this point, Jadzia or Terry Farrell knows she's not coming back, so one of the first scenes we get of her in this episode is her naked under a blanket. And I'm like, this is how they treat her! This is why she's leaving! You fucking idiots!
Because it was like sex pestery, basically, that drove her away, right?
I think that was a very large element of it. I think we're gonna, when we see her leave the show, I think I'll be able to find more info on it then. But yeah, Berman was a fucking prick, and I can't stand it.
Now that he, is literally no longer involved with Star Trek at all, I really hope,
all the dirty laundry comes out to air.
yeah.
I mean, a lot has, I think. We've got to watch What We Leave Behind, What We Left Behind, whatever the documentary episode is.
Yeah,
I
when
gotta,
all
I gotta
over.
say, I'm totally pissed that she's gonna leave because they've successfully made me give a lot of a shit about Jadzia.
Oh yeah, and Terry
And-
Farrell's acting is like, whoa now. Like, this episode,
So
she
much
was
better.
rocking.
Yeah, she stepped up a lot.
Chris also told me that the next Dax is not a great actor, so I was like, great.
Oh, but
So-
she's cute.
I don't care. Fucking Terry Farrell is gorgeous, divine. You're gonna give me cute to replace divine? Also, we finally got past this awkward doesn't know how to act stage with Terry Farrell. I don't need to do it again.
I don't know. I think
I hope they cancel the goddamn show. Oh wait.
I'll be interested to see what you think of the new Dax, because to me she's got kind of like Tilly vibes, so that'll be interesting.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, Tilly has only successfully won me over by I don't know what. So if she's just Tilly without any of Tilly's
Tilly's a better actor.
well, that too, but I mean without any of Tilly's redeeming qualities, I'm gonna hate her. Because my initial feeling about Tilly was, wow, really don't like this annoying bitch. And then they gave her something else. So depends which stage of Tilly we're talking about. Stage 1 Tilly. Mm-mm. Oh.
Yeah, overall, though, I mean, I have my issues with kind of the thing that got them there, but overall, I like this, because I liked watching Worf be, having finally got the sticks out of his assholes.
The sticks out of his assholes. Nice.
Yeah, I kind of also loved seeing the progression in the Jadzia makeup, or lack of makeup, or looking sickly makeup.
Oh, yeah,
I think
they did
did
a
a
really
good job
good
with
looked
that.
awful.
There were the points wow, she really does look like she is this close to death.
Yeah, they did a great job. When I say she looks awful, I mean as intended, not wow, what a bunch of garbage. It was really good.
I was kind of wondering, it's like, maybe this is how Klingon relationships work, is like, when you're courting, you're kind of a dick, then once you're actually married, you become a big softie. Because I just think of, like, Martok with his wife.
Oh, yeah. They're cute.
It's like, maybe
does Gowron have a wife?
I don't know. If he does, they've not mentioned her.
The luckiest lady in the quadrant.
You know how they say couples start to look alike after enough time together?
Oh, no.
I'm just picturing a woman with, like, eyes like his.
Oh, no.
And, like, who knows who got it from which one, but they both got them now.
What is he then, married to a fucking pug?
No, that's Mr. Peanut Butter.
Oh, no, you know what? They say that about dogs as well, though, that, like, animals and their owners. So if he doesn't have a pug, he's really missing a step.
Oh, we sort of got an acknowledgement in the Bilby episode that homosexuals exist in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, don't tell me you don't like girls. It's like, oh, so that means that he knows that there are people that don't like girls. Therefore, either that or it could just be asexuality. I don't know.
Could be a little bit of both, but we literally had Jadzia making out with another woman, so.
Yeah, but that was lampshaded because she used to be a dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all that proves is that Trill, or at least Jadzia, or at least Dax, is just pansexual. I don't think it actually disproves homosexuality. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just interesting that Star Trek,
yeah,
it really took until Discovery for gay people to have proper representation in Star Trek.
Yeah,
or even acknowledgement of.
I know
existence.
the fact that I'm pretty sure they still probably say Sulu is straight.
Oh, I was actually
they don't. Because, no, in
2009
the movie,
Kelvin, he's gay.
That doesn't count.
Say that.
That's a different Sulu.
Oh, you're saying that George
it doesn't
Takei's
mean that
Sulu?
They never said he was gay. They've never played that Sulu as gay. He's gay.
George Takei himself did actually go on record saying he thought of his Sulu as straight.
Interesting.
Yeah, he makes several references in TOS to ladies, so. Or possibly TAS as well.
But when you say it's a different Star Trek, I mean, you're right, Ames, but it still is acknowledging homosexuals in Star Trek.
That's
and
true,
it's also it's the same character. It's just
I don't know. Those
a
Kirks
different
are not at
version
all the
of
same.
that character.
Well, and that's a good point too, because if you're suggesting that like one universe's Sulu is gay and the other isn't, that's really kind of weird because it suggests things about sexuality, such as, yes, catastrophic events could change it, and I just don't think that's true. I think you either are or you are not.
Well,
is Sulu younger or older than Kirk? Because if he's older than Kirk, then it's literally the same person. If he's younger than Kirk, then he was born in the Kelvin universe.
I think in universe he's supposed to be younger. I don't know about real life.
He's younger.
Yeah, because Shatner just turned 90, which... Fuck.
Insane. Because, like...
I want to take that little care of myself and make it to 90.
It must be true what they say about only the good dying young, eh?
Hey.
I mean, you have to basically split the difference and go, I don't know, maybe he's bi.
Or maybe it's just none of our business. I don't know.
No, that too. But yeah, no, there had been talk of making an Enterprise character gay, but that got shot down. Probably by
They were like, whoa, the nerds already like our show little enough as it is.
In the novels, Hawk was retconned to have been gay.
What's Hawk?
The red shirt from First Contact.
The guy that gets assimilated and then
he's wearing he's outside. He's wearing the big helmet mask, and he turns, and you see he's all Borgified.
Oh,
yeah, the pilot.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. He's like the guy that's like, wait a minute. You're not a part of the main cast, yet you seem to be having a exceptional amount of
lines,
screen time, and lines.
Well, and he was a moderately well-known actor too, so it's just like, okay, but yeah, then it's like, oh yeah, red shirt.
Yeah, like is it Neil McDonald? Does that sound right?
McDonald or McDonough, one or the other.
McDonough sounds right.
Something like that from Tin Man.
Yes.
And White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the Chun-Li movie.
Yeah, the other note I had about this episode is that, so the jungle set that they created on the soundstage, they made it in such a way so that they could, kind of mix and match it, because it was a very small, it's a strangely small set. You'd never realize how small it was based on what you see in the episode. And they had it in such a way that they could just film it from different angles and mix and match different plants so that it always looked like different. But that it was so full of fucking foliage that they couldn't film from most of it because it was so full of trees that they didn't use probably a good chunk of it that they could have utilized for things just because there was too much shit.
Whoops.
They done goofed. Classic mistake.
Thought out. But, to their credit, I was convinced.
Yeah. Nice.
I didn't feel like I was seeing the same stuff over and over, so...
One of the better Star Trek planetary landscapes, I'd say.
Yeah, one of the better jungles, because I feel like last time we saw jungles, it was a bunch of plastic and potted plants, and it was so obvious it made me want to die.
I do find it interesting, though, and Caitlin alluded to this, that they don't even make an effort to make any of the wildlife appear alien.
Yeah, no.
It's all just, no, that's just a straight up snake from Earth. That's
an Ilvos or something. Little puppets.
But that led us to discussing the potential to own a snake someday. I was like, Chris was like, "Oh, that's a nice looking snake." I was like, "You like snakes?" He's like, "Well, I don't need to own a snake." I'm like,
"Yeah, but don't become
to own a
snake people."
Oh,
come on! I'll get a snake. I'll grow a rat tail.
I just can't. I have a hard time.
Put a couple of Confederate flags on the front yard.
Owning anything that has to stay in a tank.
Get a Harley Davidson. Cut the sleeves off all my shirts.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel
keep going.
Because I think I know some snake people, and I feel like snakes are less about being a pet and more about being kind of a statement of, I have this thing that I have to care for and give live mice, and it doesn't do anything, but I have it.
Oh, no, they're so nice, and they love you. They want to wrap around you, and you can pet
choke
them.
you.
That's fine.
They're practicing choking you.
There's a reason they're called a constrictor. They will constrict you. Anything else on these shows?
Guess not.
Yeah, no, they were both fine.
They both had glaring flaws, I think, in just the sense of them. So
yeah, it's.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. I was gonna say, it's just they both just had the issue of like the only reason we're actually getting these stories is because we have to have the main characters here. Because in reality, no intelligence service would be doing any of this.
I find it interesting, and I actually kind of appreciate that the Cardassian racism ends up being justified, because he's like, I can't believe I'm leaving my life to a Klingon, and then the Klingon abandons him and he gets killed.
Though, I really hope his last thought was, maybe I shouldn't have been a dick to the Klingon.
That's also true.
Aww.
Wouldn't have made a difference.
True. Self-fulfilling prophecy much?
Yeah, seriously.
Also, Worf probably could have just been carrying Jadzia that whole time.
Using her as a weapon.
If he thinks he's the strong giant Klingon, he'd have just carried her.
The Batleth, the Matleth, the Mateleth.
I mean, here's the other thing too. If she had just, at the point when she got shot,
Macleth, rather.
If she had just gone back to the runabout at that point,
put herself in stasis.
Yeah, she could have done that, and they probably would have had enough time to get the guy.
Probably.
But I'm glad that guy's dead.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Him. He seemed like a prick. I bet he was giving a lot of bad information anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably didn't know shit. He just didn't want to die.
Yeah, fuck him.
The information he has is, let me tell you about the founder's infamous sweet tooth.
Every night I have to sneak downstairs and bake him a goddamn cake.
The whole Great Link sneaks to another planet for their nightly apple cake.
Can you imagine that? Be like,
cake.
Hey, I know where all the founders are. Oh yeah, where are they? In the Great Link.
Winner.
If you can find that, you got him.
Ow! Yeah, good. I'm glad he got you, you jerk.
Sorry for those at home. My laughter caused one of our cats to kind of freak out.
Probably caused all our listeners to freak out too, you loud bastard.
Sorry, but that was too good.
Is that cat shit? Did you just make our cat poop on me?
Looks like a bruise.
What?
You bruise easily.
It's not a bruise.
I think this is weird.
I think my cat's had a dirty ass, and I was just holding him, and now I have possibly cat shit on my arm.
All right, let's wrap this up so she can clean her arm.
Here, you wanna?
Weird.
No. Give it
What's happening?
This is horrible. Make it stop.
All right, well, this has been another interesting episode of A Star to Steer Her By. Join us next week for episode 216 when we will talk about Wrongs Darker Than Death or Night and Inquisition. Next week, we'll talk about those 2 Deep Space Nine episodes. In the meantime, if you would like, you can subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can also find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. We are on Twitter and Tumblr at SSHB Podcast, and you can visit us at sshbpodcast.com. We've got all kinds of good shit up there, including season wrap-ups, fan fictions, occasional essays about, aesthetics and bad admirals, or badmirals, as I like to call them. Not really, I've never said that before, but now it is a thing. I think that's it. I think that's everything. So I have been Caitlin.
I am Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is always Ames. Quark's winning streak continues, guys. Someone's got to take him down.
Who will be 208?
Me.
Probably Jadzia again.
Yeah.
Because she seems to have a gambling problem.
Oh.
Severe.